My name is Mariam, I'm a doctor, and what I saw in my life, what I saw inside the clinic where I used to work, is the reason I hate medicine today and why I'm terrified of entering any hospital or clinic. My story began on a night I will never forget. That day, the workload was overwhelming, so many patients. I stayed in the clinic until 1:09. After everyone left, only one patient remained. An old woman walked in. Her appearance was unsettling. Her skin had a bluish colour. Her veins were unusually visible. And the moment I saw her, my heart tightened with fear. She sat across from me, but she didn't say a word. Important detail, by that time, my secretary had already left. There was no one in the clinic, except me and that woman. I tried to stay calm and asked her, "What are you complaining about?" She stayed silent. I moved closer and repeated the question. Finally, she answered in a low, cold voice. "My whole body hurts, and I always feel like something heavy is pressing on my chest. I can't breathe properly." I began examining her, and that's when the first shock happened. I couldn't find any pulse. Not in her wrist, not in her neck, no nervous response, nothing. I thought my stethoscope was broken, but I'd used it minutes earlier with other patients. I looked at her and said, terrified, "Are you sure you can hear me? You have no pulse, no signs of life. How are you even alive?" Suddenly, the clinic lights began to flicker. On, off, until the lights went out completely. In the darkness, I held onto the furniture, reached my desk, took my phone and turned on the flashlight. When I lifted the light, she was gone. She had disappeared. I ran outside looking for her. Nothing. No trace. I went to the electrical panel and raised the switches that had been pushed down, as if someone had turned them off deliberately. I returned to my office, and that's when the real nightmare began. She was sitting on the same chair, in the same position, looking at the floor, as if she had never moved. I whispered, trembling, "When did you leave? And come back?" Slowly, she raised her head. Her eyes were completely white. No pupils, no life. And on her face, a terrifying smile. Behind her, a dark shadow appeared. A figure, not human. Its eyes were fixed on me, as if it was paralyzing me with its stare. The lights began flickering again violently. I tried to run, but the shadow appeared in front of me, blocking my way. My phone suddenly died. I found myself trapped. The woman on one side, the dark creature on the other. My heart was about to stop. The room started spinning, and I collapsed. When I woke up, my secretary was standing in front of me. She said she came back because she forgot important papers and found me unconscious on the floor. I asked her immediately, "Where is the woman who was here?" She looked confused and said, "There was no one here, doctor." I asked her to check the security cameras, and that's when the final shock came. The recording showed something completely different. It showed the woman leaving my office calmly, and me walking her to the door normally. No flickering lights, no disappearance, no shadow, no darkness. Everything looked completely normal. And the most terrifying part, the exact time she left in the recording was the same time I saw her transform. And at the exact moment I thought the power went out, the cameras were working perfectly, showing me standing in the reception area until I suddenly collapsed. Since that day, I closed the clinic. I quit medicine, and I became afraid of any place related to hospitals. Until this moment, I still have no explanation for what happened that night. Autopsy number 47, a witness from the inside. My name is Mariam Hatim. I was an autopsy assistant in an old government hospital on the edge of the city. I worked there for 5 years. Not a doctor, not a surgeon. I was the woman who cleaned the blood, who closed the drawers, who was always the last one to leave the morgue every night. And the night I'm about to tell you about changed my life forever. In the basement of the hospital, there was a long, narrow hallway, dim yellow lights, air that smelled of disinfectant, and always mixed with it another smell. The smell of old death soaked into the walls. Dr. Layla Mansour was the head of the morgue, a calm, practical woman, 7 years of experience. She used to say, "The dead are lighter than the living. The dead don't lie." That night, it was just the two of us. At 2:30 a.m, they brought us the body of an unidentified woman. I was the one who received her. Age, late 20s. Long black hair tangled with dried blood. Her entire body was covered in knife wounds. Not wounds of rage, calculated wounds. Each cut the same distance from the next, as if whoever killed her was counting. Dr. Layla counted the wounds herself. She whispered, 7, 20, 40. Then she stopped. Exactly 47 stab wounds. We wrote in the report, cause of death, severe bleeding due to multiple stab wounds. But before I closed the drawer, I noticed something that froze me in place. The blood was still flowing, even though the report said she had been dead for more than 10 hours. The first sound. Around 3 a.m, I was in the supply room. I heard a faint sound. Tap, tap, tap. Like fingernails tapping on metal. At first, I thought it was the freezer, but the sound was coming from only one drawer. Drawer number 47, the one with the new body. Dr. Layla walked over and put her ear against the door. The sound stopped. She opened the drawer. The body was still there, but her right hand had moved. Not much, but not in the position we had left it in. Layla looked at me and said, "Did you move her?" I said, feeling cold spread down my back, "I swear I didn't touch her." She closed the drawer. We went back to our places. 2 minutes later, tap, tap, tap. Louder. Closer. Layla decided to check the body's records. She went to the computer, typed in the case number. The system returned, "No file found for this number." We thought it was a malfunction. We opened the paper registry, flipped through the pages. Case 46, case 48. Number 47 did not exist, as if that number had never been registered. At that moment, as I was standing behind her, I heard breathing. Not from the body, from behind me. I turned around quickly. No one. But the mirror in front of us was fogged, as if someone had been standing there, breathing, and then vanished. Layla decided to start the autopsy and finish quickly. I stood beside her. The moment she touched the skin of the body, she whispered, "Warm." It was. Her skin was warm, like a living person. As she opened the chest, she saw the heart. Not beating, but soft, as if it had died only minutes ago. Suddenly, the body opened her eyes. Not a normal movement. The eyelids lifted slowly, and the eyes were completely black, A sound came from her chest, like trapped air escaping. Layla fell to the floor. I stepped back, unable to breathe. When we approached again, the eyes were closed. The body was still. We told ourselves it was a hallucination. But on her chest, there was a new wound. Stab wound number 48, still bleeding. After that night, I truly left the hospital. I walked away without ever looking back. Many years passed. I tried to forget what happened in the morgue. Until just 1 week ago, I was walking down the street when an ambulance passed by. Inside were colleagues I knew. We greeted each other. They had a case in the back. I heard the paramedic say to his partner, "This body is going to the old morgue. Unidentified. Cause of death, multiple stab wounds." My heart stopped. Without thinking, I asked, "What number will it be?" He looked at me strangely and said, "It hasn't been registered yet, but the first empty number in the logbook will be 47. At that moment, I felt the same cold I had felt that night. The same feeling, as if an old curse was still running after me.
My name is Dr. Hisham Fouad. I am a forensic pathologist working in a government hospital. Normally, any forensic doctor is used to seeing things that would be unbearable for most people. Over time, you adapt. You become numb. That is simply part of the job. That night was supposed to be an ordinary one, like countless nights before it in the morgue. Silence filled the room. The fluorescent lights hummed softly overhead. Everything was clean, organized, perfectly in place. Even the smell of formalin felt familiar, almost comforting. I never imagined that this routine night would turn into the one that made me question everything I believed about the morgue, and about my certainty that every phenomenon must have a scientific explanation. I was seated at my desk, reviewing new case files, preparing to begin the autopsy of an elderly man who had died from a heart attack. Everything was normal, textbook even. But the moment I pulled back the sheet covering the body, I felt it. A strange, crushing energy filled the room, heavy, oppressive, unnatural. I began my work. Then something caught my attention. One eye was wide open. The other was completely shut. I had never seen that before. Normally, the eyes are fully closed, or, at most, half open. I tried to reassure myself. Probably just a trick of the light, I thought. But the sense of unease had already begun to seep in. I sat down to write my notes, and suddenly a sharp cold spread through my hand, as if someone had touched it without me seeing them. I turned quickly. No one was there. At the same moment, the chair beside me shifted slightly, as if someone had sat down abruptly, then stood up just as fast. My heart began to race. I took a deep breath and told myself, "It's just exhaustion. You're tired from staying up all night." I continued working, forcing my focus onto the procedure. But the sounds changed. Heavy breathing filled the room, coming from the direction of the body. Breathing, as if it were alive. I finished the autopsy and returned the body on the trolley to the cold storage. As I pushed it inside, the open eye seemed to follow me, moving slowly, deliberately, as if it wanted to say something. But no sound came. I went back to my office to complete the report. I wrote my observations, closed the file, and reached for another case. Then, The instruments on the table began to shake, as though unseen hands were playing with them. I tried to stand up to check what was happening, but my legs felt impossibly heavy, as if something was gripping them from below. I tried to scream. No sound came out. After that, I don't remember anything. The next thing I knew, I was opening my eyes to see my colleagues standing over me, trying to wake me up. They told me I had collapsed beside my desk, unconscious on the floor. To this day, I have found no explanation.